It was 1977. I had taken time off work to have a baby and stay home with her. But I still needed an income, so my mother had hired my younger sister and me to do the dirty, back-breaking work in her shop while she took care of her first infant granddaughter. My sister and I were working at our mom's antique store one summer day. Mom had just gotten a truckload of European oak furniture that needed to be cleaned and polished, have the handles screwed on and so forth. A nice-looking young man came into the store and started talking to my sister, who was 17 at the time. He introduced himself as Ted Smith, and we laughed and said we must be related as Mom's maiden name was Smith also. He chatted both of us up, but focused on Sis for the most part. He purchased an armoire, but said he'd have to go get his truck, since at the moment he was driving his VW Bug, an old VW Bug. He then asked my sister and me if we wanted to go out to dinner that night with him. We were sweaty and dirty from work. I had a baby to care for, and Sis already had a boyfriend, so we said, thanks, but no thanks, Ted. He asked me to ride with him to get his truck so he could drop his Bug off at the auto shop for repairs, but by that point I had to get home to my infant right away, because I was still nursing her and I thought my breasts were going to begin leaking at any minute. However, he wouldn't give up trying to get one or both of us away from the shop. He said he could come back about 10 o'clock that evening for his armoire and asked whether one or both of us be there. We replied, no, we close the shop at 6, and we both have places to be tonight. He was persistent. How about tomorrow night? No, we close at 6 o'clock, except on Saturdays, when we close at 4 o'clock. He asked whether one of us could meet him early in the morning, like at 5:30 a.m., but neither of us wanted to. He was getting to be a bit creepy and Sis and I were eye-rolling at each other. Eventually, he said he was sorry but he couldn't buy the armoire if we couldn't be flexible. We hated to give up the sale, but after he had been there for 2 hours, we thought he was just looking and taking up our time. We still had a lot of work to do on the furniture that had just arrived in the shop. Finally, we just wanted to finish our work and go home. At 6 p.m., as we were leaving, his VW Bug was parked outside and he asked us whether we want to go for coffee. He especially wanted my sister to go. We said, thanks, Ted, but no thanks. Like we said earlier, we have plans, but he continued to be insistent. Finally I said, Sis, let's go, I'll take you home. Even though she had her car there, for some reason I didn't want to leave her to drive home alone with this guy around. So he drove off in his Bug and we really didn't think of it again. Until the next year, when this picture appeared in the paper. It's Ted Bundy. It still sends chills up my spine, writing this, and Sis and I talk about it occasionally. We were two lucky young women that day. If either of us had agreed to go, we would have been raped and murdered like the at least 30 other women Bundy kidnapped.